Election Commission says that till 11 a.m., so till an hour back, the total voting that has happened in these 57 constituencies, an average which has been taken is 26.3%. How should that be seen? Let me take that question straight to Nija Chaudhary and Shogato Srinivas, who's joining us here. Nija, 26.3, I would say it's promising to begin with, particularly this entire belt which is polling has heat wave.
I know, and the one thing, Maria, I must say, in the future, I hope no election will pan out over almost 2 months in the hottest possible weather. So, and with heat increasing. Anyway, that apart, yes, as these phases have progressed, we've seen a slight rise
in the voter
turnout. And I think parties have also made an effort to rev up their machinery, to get the cadre to activate themselves, which was not the case in the first 2 rounds, which worried people. So I think there has been course correction there, with the BJP worker coming out much more
aggressively.
Aggressively.
Yes, particularly, what we saw because in the first 2 phases it was most of south of India that polled. And in most of these states, the voter percentage was a matter of concern. And there was a lot of effort that was made by various political parties to hold discussion around it, to generate enthusiasm. If we were to look at the overall average right now, it stands equal to 2019 numbers.
Yeah. See, even in the south, Maria, see, a state like Karnataka, where I come from, the average did not drop. It actually it went up a little. Except for 1 or 2 districts where there was a bit of a slump, the overall average actually went up. And I think after the first 2 phases, this whole narrative that was built up that the turnout is sort of becoming an issue, I think one should credit the opposition also sufficiently that they started speaking about the election turning and they created hope. And despite the heat, I think if people are coming out, I think it's also the opposition which has pushed its cadres and its machinery, and also, the regional parties have a greater ability to sort of bring out people than the Congress party itself. And Congress party's alliances are everywhere in play, especially Uttar Pradesh or Bihar, where they have a minuscule role, but the alliances have a great deal of machinery, men and machinery and organization, which the Congress does not have.
I would agree, because if we were to look at as the election moves, because there are 3 states which have polled in all 7 phases, which is UP, Bihar and Bengal. That is where we are seeing a lot of enthusiasm and perhaps a very aggressive campaigning by the opposition. And Shogato is joining us. In fact, Saurav is joining us live from Bengal. He is at one of the polling booths where there has been poll violence. Good to see you. Is the temperature okay? Have people started coming out to vote? Because overall, if we were to look at constituency-wise how the elections have panned out in Bengal, several of those constituencies have seen a very high voter turnout, touching almost 75%.
That's the unique thing about Bengal. In spite of all the violence, in spite of all the reasons, including the weather's better today, obviously, though it is still hot, but it's much better than what it is in other parts of the country. In spite of all kinds of, blockages to people coming out and voting, people do come out and vote. And even if there's violence, people will still make an effort to come out and vote. That's also a result of what we call party society in Bengal, where the party drives a lot of the welfare schemes, benefits on the ground. And this is something that has come down from, right from the CPIM days. That's one thing. The other thing is that, 9 seats are voting, very important seats. In seats like Diamond Harbour, where Abhishek Banerjee's, future is decided. And of course, this time the Trinamool there is talking about margin, they're not talking about victory. Seats like Kolkata South, where Mamata Banerjee's assembly constituency is located. Seats like Kolkata North, where the BJP is eyeing a chance in Kolkata, because there is infighting within the Trinamool, and Sudeep Bandyopadhyay, the official Trinamool candidate, who's the leader of the Trinamool Congress in the Lok Sabha, has faced opposition from within his own party members. Other seats like Boshirhat are again important. Why? The Shandesh Khali issue was such a big national issue. And while the BJP has used the issue to the maximum in its election campaign, what also happened was there was a sting operation video that came out, and that kind of took the steam out of the Sandesh Khali campaign as far as the BJP is concerned, because there were then doubts cast over the veracity of complaints, at least in the minds of several people, and that led to some amount of convolution of this issue. Then you also have seats like Boshirat, Boshirat, which comes under which Sandesh Khali comes. Then you have Barashot, Dom, Joynagar, Mathurapur, and seats like Joynagar have seen violence today because in Canning, which comes under the Joynagar seat, there has been violence. In Jadavpur, which is actually a seat in Kolkata, there has been violence in one of the rural constituencies near Bhangor in Jadavpur, within the Jadavpur constituency. Then you have also a violence reported from this Itkola Gram Panchayat in Canning. And shockingly, in one of the areas, of EVM and a VVPAT machine was thrown into a water body, again over disagreements over allowing booth level workers to sit. So while we comparatively say that this has been a relatively less violence election, the unfortunate thing is violence continues in Bengal elections, and that's something that's been in the news, and that's not a great thing for elections in a democracy.
Let's run some political reactions that have come in early this morning, and then I come back to Saurav and discuss Odisha. Remember, 6 seats which are Lok Sabha seats and also 42 assembly seats in Odisha are polling even as we speak.
So by and large, voting has been peaceful, and I appeal to the people of West Bengal and all the seats that has been going for polling today, that for all the injustice, all the deprivation, all the jumlas, all the pain that has been inflicted on you over the last 5 years, today is your time to respond. I have done my civic duty and responsibility. I urge everyone to come out in big numbers and exercise their franchise today.
Ma'am, 2 minutes for NDTV. It's your Lok Sabha debut, electoral debut. How confident are you? Or are there butterflies in your stomach?
Few butterflies are definitely there, but then Jadavpur Lok Sabha constituency has always blessed Trinamool and Mamata Banerjee if you look at the trend for the previous terms. So this time also we are pretty hopeful that people are going to come forward and they are going to bless us.
Ma'am, in Bhangor seat especially, as you were mentioning just a short while back, there are reports coming in of a bit of disturbance or unrest.
Yes.
Are you apprehensive?
We have got a bunch of anti-socials there, and they are also a political party, and they have understood that it's not going to be easy for them this time. So they have done something which is very expected: violence, nuisance, and stopping people from casting their rightful vote. So everything is under vigilance. We are at it. So let's hope things are going to be smoother by the end of the day.
Ma'am, last question. Your message to people of Kolkata today?
Vote, 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 and just vote for your right. Vote to save the country. Vote in favor of people and the party who is taking you forward, not the party which is taking you backward.
All right. Thank you so much for speaking to us. NDTV, you heard Shayani Ghosh, the candidate of TMC from Jadavpur, a favorite, a front runner from Jadavpur constituency, which is known as a TMC bastion. She had cast her vote just a short while back. There are reports of some unrest coming in from one of the areas in her constituency where she is in fact going to travel now. But as I mentioned that it's a triangular contest in Jadavpur, but TMC feels that they're confident enough to keep this prestige seat. With camera person Ashwini Mehra reporting from Kolkata, Tanima Biswas for NDTV.
Voting by and large अच्छा हो रहा है. कुछ घटना का खबर आ रहा है, वो हम इलेक्शन कमीशन के और जो स्पेशल ऑब्जर्वर्स और ये सब हैं उनको सारा हम इन्फॉर्म कर रहे हैं. बाय एंड लार्ज ठीक ही हो रहा है. वो लोगों को यही तो अपील है कि आप अपना वोट जाकर डालिए, क्योंकि ये लोकतंत्र का उत्सव है. ये लोकतंत्र का उत्सव है तो आप उनको जाना चाहिए, निकलना चाहिए.
मेरा वोट देना फर्ज था, फर्ज दिया एज ए नागरिक. लाइन में खड़ा हुआ, लाइन से बाहर नहीं गया. लोगों ने कहा कि आप आगे आके दीजिए, मैंने कहा नहीं, लाइन पे खड़ा होकर वोट दूंगा. मैं 40 मिनट तक, आपने देखा होगा, मैं खड़ा ही हूँ, वोट देके आ गया, बस खत्म. अभी मेरा जो काम था 30 तारीख तक, मेरे सेंट्रल कमेटी जो हमारे बॉस है हमको कहा था कि ये करने को, मैंने कर दिया. मेरा राजनीतिक कर्तव्य था वो मैंने कंप्लीट किया. अभी आज से मैं फिल्म लाइन में घुस रहा हूँ. मेरे को कुछ खाना भी तो है, पेट चलाना है ना, तो आज से मैं सिर्फ फिल्म लाइन की बात करूँगा, राजनीति.
6 of 21 seats in Odisha are polling and also 42 assembly seats. Remember, it's a simultaneous election of the Lok Sabha and also the state assembly which is happening in Odisha. Sort of a quick update on Odisha. It's an interesting state. The BJP won 8 MPs last time around. They are hoping that the number this time will be in double digit. We saw some very aggressive campaigning by the Prime Minister, Home Minister Amit Shah, and of course Dharmendra Pradhan, who is on ground. Last evening, he levelled a very serious charge against the ruling BJD that they were using muscle power and money power, and he had put out some videos. Did the Election Commission take note of that?
Definitely. While talking about Odisha, the first update we got this morning was some videos emerging where, the allegation was that some women were actually involved in distributing cash. We saw those visuals, 500 rupee notes neatly marked and, packed in pouches. So that's one of the things that came out this morning. But Odisha, of course, is very important because, earlier there were talks of an alliance between the BJP and the BJD. Those talks failed through and quickly descended into a very, bitter campaign between the two parties. And while Naveen Patnaik is seeking a historic 6th term to become the longest serving Chief Minister of India, there is a challenge being mounted by the BJP, and the BJP has done its groundwork. And Maria, we know this from reporting over the last few days that the entire Assam, Northeast, West Bengal and Odisha is being seen as a catchment area for the BJP, because that is the area where the BJP wants to make up for losses it might have to suffer in other places. And therefore, Odisha is in huge focus for the BJP. Dharmendra Pradhan, one of the mainstays of the BJP in Odisha, but also today Kendrapada is going to polls, and Kendrapada is, of course, the seat of Jay Panda, the BJD leader who's gone to the BJP, and also, there are 42 assembly seats. So in a way, a decider phase also as far as the assembly, because, this split vote is something that the BJP has, we've been reporting this, in our data as well, that, the BJP now wants to max out its gains from states like Odisha, and therefore, playing this soft game with the BJD is something that is left in the past. And the Prime Minister, I think, made a very significant statement when he said that Odisha ke liye main apne sambandhon ka bali chada dunga. And then, of course, there also was that comment from that Prime Minister where he, spoke about a conspiracy about Odisha Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik's health based on some videos that had emerged. And then, Naveen Patnaik responded he could have simply picked up the phone and called me if he was concerned about my health. Unfortunate the Prime Minister used those words. And then, of course, we heard right before this phase one very important announcement from Naveen Patnaik, and that was that he said VK Pandian was not my successor. So, in a way, countering the BJP's Uriya Ashmita and the outsider tag on VK Pandian.
That would be seen as almost a turning point of these elections. Thank you so much for joining us, Ninja Chaudhary here in the studio, and also Shaukato Srinivas. I think it's important that messaging that came from Naveen Patnaik, because he understood that narrative which was being built by the BJP was having electoral impact on his fortunes.
Absolutely, absolutely. Naveen Patnaik and the team around him, which has been running the show for many, many years with him. Of course, he's denied the Prime Minister's charge that he's ill, and the Prime Minister will set up a committee to look at it after the election. He said, I'm very fit. And actually, when you look at it, 24 long years to be running the show in Odisha. And so far, it's been like, what is called the Mili-Juli Kushti between the BJP and the BJD. But this time, it seems to have turned into an actual contest. So, it remains to be seen how well the BJP will do in the Lok Sabha.
And some statistics here, Nirja. In 2019, the BJP got a vote share of 38.4%.
That's right.
And while the BJD of Naveen Patnaik was at 42.8, winning 12 seats. They won 8 seats at 38.4. It's not much of a difference.
It's a matter of 2, 3, 4%.
That's it.
Absolutely, to be able to. That's why the BJP is very hopeful of mopping up more numbers from Odisha.
But what will happen in assembly? That's a
that
catch.
I think
it will be like
assembly.
a split vote. What we have
I
seen.
think the feedback one gets is the assembly may stay with the BJD. I would be very surprised if the BJP gets the assembly.
But interestingly, here is the state where the BJP goes all out only post winning Uttar Pradesh in 2017. If you look at it, the first national executive of the BJP was held in Bhubaneswar only after they won
That's
Uttar
right.
Pradesh, right?
Yes.
And then the focus was that look east.
That's right.
Home Minister Amit Shah was then the party president. He started talking about Bengal and Odisha. He started aggressively campaigning. I remember doing a campaign trail with Mr. Shah in Odisha and he, almost revealing the roadmap of sorts of his party.
And remember, it's the East that's
Yes.
going to come to their rescue. Whatever they are going to lose in the North and Karnataka, it's really Odisha, Bengal, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, where they hope to mop up more
So
seats.
will Andhra and Telangana spring up surprises?
See, Telangana certainly, and Andhra, they're contesting very few seats. Of course, the alliance will do well, largely predicted to do well. But in terms, Telangana may be a real surprise because the BRS, see, it's not lost out. Its vote share is still very buoyant, and a regional party cannot be sort of petered out like that, as a lot of people say. But I'm sure that they will improve their numbers and touch double digits. There are only 19 seats anyway in Telangana. And in Andhra, there are 25 seats, out of which they are contesting only 6. And so that may be, they may sort of, do well in Telangana. And Andhra, the alliance will do well. But will that be enough to compensate the notional losses that people are talking about in the rest of India is the real question. So East becomes very, very important.
And battle in Odisha in particular and Bengal is one of the most fascinating battles that we have
but
seen.
the Pandian issue, which Nirja ma'am raised, I think that clarification came a little too late.
Yes.
The whole thing had sort of sunk in. And
That here is an officer from Tamil Nadu who has taken complete charge of the Chief Minister's
Absolutely,
office.
and
and he's also deciding, those images that came out of VK Pandyan, holding on to Chief Ministers.
And it's been well known.
It's very well known for the longest time, I would say.
And even in the last elections, Maria, when NDTV interviewed Naveen Patnaik, there was these talks of his, hands sort of, tremors in his hands and all that. But nobody raised it politically. This time it became a very personal kind of a thing. So that is why when your reporter said that women were distributing money and there was some kind of in Balasore and other things, it looks like a bit of a paradox that on the one hand the BJP is trying to drive home this point that it is over, there is fatigue and they have lost, whatever.
No, but that's also
and there's also a bit of an aggression.
No, but that is also quintessential BJP. As a BJP reporter, I would say that, right, Nirja? That there is no safe seat for them. Even in, Varanasi, what we saw, Prime Minister Modi's constituency, Home Minister Amit Shah, top ministers were there trying to ensure that everything goes as per the plan.
Right.
They don't take things for granted. Absolutely. When it comes to elections, they pull out all stops and absolutely, and course correct very quickly after getting feedback, which is you don't sit on it for a long time.
Yes.
So there is but the point that I was trying to make is that there is still aggression that the BJD is demonstrating, going by what your reporter has been.
Yes. In fact, last evening it was Dharmendra Pradhan who's seen as the face of the BJP in Odisha, the kind of investment that he has done in the state in terms of his own personal politics. His politics is invested in Odisha. He was the one who put out details saying that there has been misuse of money and some kind of muscle power. On that note, we are slipping into a short break and then we'll be putting spotlight on other states. I would try and get details from reporters from Uttar Pradesh and Bihar as well. Remember, of 57 seats that are polling, a total of 21 come from these states of UP and Bihar.